European Championship title. It's a wrap from the Sports Desk at this hour. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, our email address is newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or give us a call on +27 11714 4459. It's 11:36 a.m. Central African time for Channel Africa Sport. I am Musibudi Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective. The Midnight Snack, 12 to 3 a.m.
Young couples or young people that are getting married, we often hear of divorces, that they're getting divorced, and it's quite worrying because when we attend these weddings, we want to see these people flourish and celebrate 30-year anniversaries. What do you think is the main challenge that is facing newlyweds?
We say that tell me how you were raised and I'll tell you how you love. So when we see people getting married, that's not where the relationship actually starts. The relationship starts with how you were raised, what you were familiar with, because we are attracted to what we are familiar with. If you don't have a background where love was prominent, where love was authentic, it's going to be very difficult for you to manufacture that in later life. So our upbringing has something to do with it.
The Midnight Snack, every Monday, 12 to 3 a.m. with Chanduko Ligege. 9 to 12 midday, Central African Time. On the move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama.
Hey, let's wrap up the morning business with Buntle.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thanks, Benjamin, and good morning. In our top story at this hour, Ghana's cocoa regulator says increased disease incidents caused by prolonged rainfall and a lack of sunlight could lead to a moderate production decline. This follows calls by farmers for state intervention to mitigate the impact of bad weather. The West African country, the world's second biggest cocoa producer, has seen output fall in previous seasons due to diseases, adverse weather conditions, and rampant illegal gold mining, which destroys cocoa plantations and reduces yields. The regulator says that preliminary assessments suggests that production may see a moderate decline compared to earlier projections. South Africa's Transport Minister Barbara Creecy has dissolved the Road Accident Funds Board due to persistent governance and operational challenges. She says the challenges have significantly impacted the RAF's ability to fulfill its mandate and include costly litigation over accounting standards, inconsistent handling of the CEO's suspension, frequent default judgments, deep divisions within the board, and failure to fill critical executive positions. The department's Colin Sibi says this decision aims to address these issues and improve the RAF's effectiveness.
Minister Creecy has reiterated the department's commitment to continue to pursue all necessary measures to restore institutional stability and enhance the RAF's capacity to fulfill its statutory obligations to the public and ensure a speedy and equitable access to the road accident benefit scheme by the road accident victims. She further emphasized her department's intention to finalize the road accident benefit scheme bill, which will introduce a no-fault system to make it easier for road accident victims.
Egypt plans to launch a revamped national commodity exchange to oversee imports and exports of essential agricultural goods. This as the country strives to secure consistent supplies and keep prices steady. In a statement, the presidency said the exchange, in which the military-linked Future of Egypt for Sustainable Development has a majority stake, will act as a safety valve for local markets and balance the interests of producers and consumers. While the statement did not say which goods would be traded through the exchange, a preliminary announcement in March said it would oversee crops, processed foods, animal feed, fertilizers, pesticides, and veterinary medicines. Senegal's finance ministry says the country has raised $644 million in its second public bond offering of 2025, exceeding its initial target of just over $530 million. The issuance, which ran from the 19th of June to the 8th of July, forms part of the government's broader strategy to diversify budget financing sources. deepen the domestic capital market and manage public debt. Senegal has seen mounting concerns about its debt levels. Its international bonds have lost roughly a quarter of their value since revealing in September it had what analysts estimated as up to $14 billion of previously undisclosed debt. The founder of and CEO of Meta, Mark Zuckerberg, is expected to testify in a high-stakes trial later today in the U.S. state of Delaware. A group of shareholders alleged that he and other senior company officials should be held liable for billions of dollars in fines for privacy violations by Facebook, the BBC's Lily Jamali reports.
The shareholders allege that Mr. Zuckerberg's actions have led to the company paying out billions of dollars in costs because of privacy violations. They say the way he ran the firm ultimately led to the Cambridge Analytica scandal, in which the data of millions of Facebook users was leaked and used by a political consulting firm. The shareholders are also suing other former directors who they say protected Mr. Zuckerberg. The defendants reject the claims, calling them extreme. Meta declined to comment.
And in our final look at the financial indicators this morning, $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,529 naira. In Botswana, it's 13 pula 24. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 58. And in Zambia, it's 23 kwacha 5. The BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 rial 56. Russia, 78 rubles and 1. India, it's 85 rupees 90. China, 7 yuan 17. And South Africa, $1 is trading at 17 rand 86 cents. $1 is trading at 74 pence to the British pound and 85 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $3,340 per ounce, slightly up from this morning, and platinum at $1,400 per ounce, while the price of Brent crude oil is now at $68.29 a barrel. And those are your final business news at this morning. For any business stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Give us a call on +27 11 714 4459. For Channel Africa Business, I am Buntle Hetbush.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African perspective. Africa Update on Channel Africa with Lulu Kabu.
The situation in northern Mozambique's Cabo Delgado province continues to deteriorate, with fresh reports revealing a sharp rise in child abductions and mass displacements. What needs to be done to address the root causes of the conflict in your view? And especially just considering that resources are at the center of all of this.
This has now been going on since the end of 2017 in terms of the armed conflict, but the underlying factors have been in play really for generations now in the Mozambican setting, and the socio-economic drivers which have provided space for exploitation by external forces and by radicalized internal elements are really keeping a pilot light under this conflict. And the Mozambican government has struggled both in terms of its hard security response, but also in terms of its soft security and its development response to address the key drivers in play. And so we are likely to see a continuation of this kind of conflict.
Pierce Piju.
Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time. Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa on the move.
SABC Sport brings you Chasing the Sun, a powerful 5-part documentary series about the Springboks, telling the rousing tale of their path to redemption and ultimate World Cup glory in 2019. Starting 13 July at 7:30 p.m. on SABC2, tune in every Sunday for the highs, the heartache and the heroics that made rugby history. Stream each chapter on SABC Plus, anytime, anywhere, no subscription needed. Don't miss Chasing the Sun this Sunday at 7:30 p.m. on SABC2. Be there when history shines.
Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa. Is the future. Africa is a story a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices: English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa, partner with Channel Africa, because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a story, a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices: English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa.
And have you been having a good show? What is standing out as a key conversation for you? Let us know on our WhatsApp number, +2763 406 9126.
Africa. It's time to plug into the heartbeat of the continent. Tune in to Channel Africa, your go-to radio station that broadcasts in 5 different languages.
L'Afrique du Sud célèbre la journée nationale du
Kabla hujaitwa kwa jina la Double K
or more of our forests have been destroyed.
Estamos
Partido Africano da Independência da Guiné.
See, Channel Africa represents every corner of this amazing land. From Lagos to Cape Town, Nairobi to Dakar, we've got you covered with the freshest news, music, and cultures. So, turn up the volume, feel the rhythm. Enjoy the conversation. Channel Africa, the African perspective. Tune in and turn up the volume. This is Channel Africa. Africa, because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a story, a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices: English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa, partner with Channel Africa, because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a story, a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other: Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices: English, Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define. To go on the move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama. Find Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa, partner with Channel Africa, because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a story, a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other: Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster, Channel Africa is the pulse of the continent, African-led, African-run, and deeply rooted in its heritage. It's the only international station that speaks to Africa in its own voices.
Focused on serious things and they don't have dance moves. I just saw Lulu Kapu's dance moves. Yeah, hey, they are next level. Hey? That is Azishe, MFR Souls, Tuto the Human, and DJ Maporisa on that one. And yeah, Lulu, how you doing?
I'm well, thanks.
I didn't know you have those dance moves in you. Hey, I'm impressed, man.
You know,
what's that jive, Lulu?
The body still moves the right way.
Okay, what can we look forward to on the show?
Today on Africa Update, we've all seen it from early this morning with the committee on the policing committee in Parliament, the national in the Parliament of South Africa. Basically, going through
appointment of an interim
minister of police. The question is, why not use the deputy ministers, Bushielo and Matale?
Yes,
that's been brought into question, and then also just the pros and cons and what they're speaking about. Just a detail of this inquiry, because now seemingly there's a parliamentary inquiry, there's the Commission of Inquiry, and a number of inquiries that are being done by different sectors within South Africa. But the question is, why not focus on one where they work together? Because now it's going to be multiple results.
And I was just reading an article by Ferial Hafiji, and she was highlighting the fact that the president has 2 reports that have to do with criminal issues in front of him, and there still is not much that's been done after those multiple commissions.
And that has been highlighted as well, because it's a question of, once these inquiries are done, the reports are done, and a lot are referring to the Zondo Commission. What has happened? What has come out from those commissions? And even though some cases might have, filtered or be touched on by the Zondo Commission, we haven't seen people go to prison. So that's the big question. And then also maternal filicide, with regards to the first quarter of 2025, child murders increased by 7.2%. We saw...
in Africa as a whole.
You know what? It is as a whole. South Africa, we're going to be speaking to Save the Children, South Africa's director, Megan Breeder.
So it's
South Africa, they're concerned. I mean, the number of cases that we're always seeing in the news being highlighted is about children in South Africa. If it's not kidnappings, it's parental abuse and killings.
And you know what? I was having a fight with some people in my life. I'm like, these kids on their cell phones, there must be screen time limits. They must be watch what they're doing on these WhatsApps. You must be always knowing where they are every single day of them, wherever they are, because there's so much that's happening that's hectic.
Unfortunately for the children, today's children, they're not able to go outside and be
like
comfortable
us.
like us.
Like play.
I mean, we would leave the house as soon as you finish breakfast in the morning. You would be gone and come back before the street lights came on. So today's children, it's a difficult one, but there have to be ways of working around it and ensuring children's safety. So that's going to be one of our focus today.
Very poignant issues there coming from Lulu Gabu, also timely and relevant. So stay with us right here on Channel Africa. We leave you by music from Senegal. This one is titled Yo Ala Wajanji.
Kiswahili, Chinyanja, French, and Portuguese. The languages that unite 1 billion people. We have been there through every shift, every milestone, and every triumph. Not just reporting history, but shaping the conversations that define Africa's future. For brands, media planning, and advertisers, Channel Africa is more than just a platform. It's an opportunity. With 25 compelling shows covering current affairs, sports, business, music, and lifestyle, we deliver an engaging Pan-African audience ready to connect, invest, and act. Multi-award winning, internationally recognized, digitally accessible across the globe. When Africa speaks, the world listens, and Channel Africa makes sure of it. For business, for culture, for Africa. Partner with Channel Africa, because Africa's voice is the future. Africa is a story, a living, breathing, ever-evolving masterpiece. And for over 5 decades now, one voice has told it like no other. Channel Africa. More than just a broadcaster.
midday, and this is Africa Update coming to you live from Johannesburg in South Africa on Channel Africa Radio from an African perspective. I'm Lulu Gabu. I'm in studio with Jwalani Tulongwepe, Figile Lingwati, and Nosipo Zuma. Now, coming up in this hour. A South African court has reordered Meta to shut down certain Instagram accounts and WhatsApp channels distributing child sexual abuse material. And we are going to be focusing on one of those stories. And Ghana's Tertiary Education Commission is purging people who have unearned PhD titles. This includes some leaders in government. All this and more coming up after the news with Jwalani Tulongwepe and our sports headlines of Figile Lingwati.
SABC News. The African Perspective.
Thank you. Good day. A blast has killed 3 Kenyan soldiers patrolling a road in the east of the country near the Somali border. The Al-Qaeda-linked Islamist group Al-Shabaab on its website said at least 2 Kenyan soldiers were killed and others wounded in a blast that targeted a convoy in a similar area yesterday, but it did not directly claim responsibility. Al-Shabaab controls large swathes of southern and central Somalia and frequently makes cross-border attacks on military and civilian targets. Parliament's Police, Justice, and the Constitutional Development Portfolio Committees in South Africa have just over a week to come up with a plan on how to deal with issues of national security. The two committees, as well as the Joint Standing Committee on Intelligence, were directed by the Speaker of the National Assembly, Togo Tidiza, to consider on an urgent basis revelations by the KwaZulu-Natal Police Commissioner Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Mkhwanazi alleged Police Minister Senzo Mchunu, who has been placed on special leave, is affiliated to persons linked to criminal activities. Mkhwanazi also alleged that top police officers are involved in criminal activities. The co-chairperson of the committee, Ian Cameron, explains what the two committees must achieve before the deadline of the 23rd of July.
The joint report must be submitted to the House by no later than 23 July 2025. It must contain 3 things. 1, a summary of findings. 2, recommendations for further action. And 3, any proposals the committees consider appropriate for the expeditious resolution of the matter.
Meanwhile, lawyers for South Africa's economic freedom fighters have sent the presidency a letter of demand seeking to be furnished with more information regarding the placement of Minister of Police Senzo Mchunu on special leave. Busi Bopela has the story.
The EFF in the letter of demand argues that Section 20